Hey there, Jake here from CVP. Sigma announced their first Cine autofocus lens a while back now, and we finally got our hands on their first lens in this new series, the 28-45mm T2 AF Cine. This new lens is based around Sigma's existing 28-45mm f1.8R that Sigma released last year, which we looked at in a previous video. So in this video, we're going to focus on the differences between them, the improved mechanics, and talk about why I think these types of lenses are going to be great for so many different people and productions. Let's get into it. Workflow and usability are the two key differentiating factors between this new lens and the existing stills variant. Previously, Sigma have taken their photo lenses and cinevised them a few times, but this is the first that combines their latest autofocus system with a cinema-style housing. This means you get the best of both worlds. It can slide into existing Cine-style workflows and also allows users to take advantage of the excellent autofocus systems inside many of Sony's cameras. I think that Sony and Canon have been two of the main brands to convince people that autofocus can be great to use for video and Cine workflows. Of course, it has to be the right situation and shot, but using autofocus across the video and Cine industry is more popular than it's ever been, and that's partly because of them. The focusing system around this new lens is the key differentiating factor between it and its stills lens counterpart. The standard 0.8 pitch gears across the focus, zoom, and iris rings are a bit wider than you may find on other Cine lenses, which does help when using the lens by hand and will make it nicer for positioning geared accessories. The focus scale, which is present on both sides of the lens, is decently spaced out, with not too many markings, which other Sigma Cine lenses have suffered from in the past. The lens is available with either imperial or metric markings, which you'll have to decide on at the point of purchase. I've seen a few iterations of this lens, and one of them actually had its marks positioned on the top like Cooke and Lights have chosen to do with their mirrorless mount primes. I personally think that that would have been a better choice for solo operators using the lens, but understand that side-mounted marks are more traditional and better for larger crude work. Its focus rotation is quite short at 200 degrees. It's long enough for controlled pulls, but not so long that it's unwieldy for solo handheld manual focusing. This lens is still focused by wire, but I think it has the best feel to it of any focus by wire lens that I've used currently. It's really responsive and feels very close to a regular focusing system on a Cine lens. One problem with Sigma lenses on E-mount is that you cannot make their focus scales linear. They are non-linear. This is solved with this lens, and it means that you can get much more consistent results and build better muscle memory of focusing with this lens. I tried to get the lens's marks to go out of whack by moving the focus ring faster and slower, but they stayed consistent, which is really good to see. When you enable autofocus, if you turn the focus ring to a different position while using autofocus, and then enable manual focus again, the lens's focus will jump to the new position on the focus scale. We also wanted to check how accurate the marks are. So for this, we set up a camera across a few different distances to see how close they line up. The marks are decently accurate. This Cine autofocus lens uses the same high-response linear actuator system found in Sigma's newest photography focus lenses, which should result in excellent performance. But let's take a look. For these tests, we used the lens natively on the Sony FX2 and Burano, and I also wanted to adapt it onto the Nikon ZR and the V-Raptor XE Z mount with the latest Megadap adapter. When using autofocus with this lens, it's nice and quiet, though when you're manual focusing, it does have a little bit sound to the movement. Starting with the Sony cameras, we have the camera set to the fastest transition speed possible and locked on when it comes to subject detection. The FX2 and Burano have some of the best Sony autofocus for video. We can see that the lens does a really good job of holding onto Sam as he walks towards the camera. We shot the same test on the Burano with a 24-70 f2.8 G Master 2, and performance looks very similar. Up next, looking at the Nikon ZR, with its autofocus settings completely maxed out, we can see that while it does track the face well, we can see focus pulsing slightly and it losing SAM at points. It works well at some points of the clip, but certainly isn't as consistent as using the lens on a regular Sony body, and this pulsing isn't something you will see with a native Z-mount lens. Looking at the Raptor, which doesn't have as robust of an autofocus system as the ZR, I was actually quite impressed with the performance. It face tracks SAM well, and while not as fast or reliable as the Sony cameras, I think it's certainly usable. It also doesn't have the pulsing that the ZR has at closer focus. If you want to keep up with the latest and greatest kit, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you want to buy anything you see in this video, or you want to get your hands on the Sigma 28-45 Cine AF yourself, or any other kit for that matter, head over to cvp.com where our experienced team is waiting to help you. Up next, let's take a look at the zoom. Here you have a nice range of markings and a 60-degree rotation. Just like the photo lens, this lens isn't perfectly parfocal when in manual focus. It performs alright, but fortunately you can enable the autofocus, which can help you perform parfocal zooms much better. With the gears on the lens, it enables you to control zooms in your shots so much better than a stills variant. This is great as it means you can perform some nice creeping zooms or crash in much more consistently. With this lens being a cine version, its aperture markings are t-stop instead of f-stop. For productions where having consistent exposure, t-stops is obviously great. When mounting it on Sony's cameras though, the aperture metadata is fed through as f-stops, which means wide open it reads as f1.8, which is obviously excellent to have on a full frame zoom. When putting the lens on camera, no camera we tested read it as t-stops, only f-stop, and that's including the Burano. The lens also has a switch to turn it into an A mode, which allows you to control the aperture through the camera like a regular stills lens. Optically, it performs exactly the same as the stills version, so it's a nice sharp lens with a really great maximum aperture, which will make it fantastic for low light scenes, or users reacting to the light and environment in front of them. It has a small amount of focus breathing, a decent close focus at 30 centimeters, and has an 11-blade iris which forms nice looking out of focus areas. If you want to add a bit more character to it, using some kind of filtration will help round off some of the sharpness. This lens physically feels incredibly robust and really well put together, which frankly is unsurprising from a Sigma Cine lens. Its focus, zoom and iris rotations feel smooth and consistent with nice satisfying hard stops. With it being a cinevised lens, it now has a nice 95mm front diameter for clamp-on matte boxes, but also an 82mm filter thread for screw-on filters. It's available in E and L mount currently, but I would love to see this lens in RF and Z mount as well. This is just the first lens in this new Cine AF series from Sigma. While a zoom this fast is fantastic on full frame, it does have quite a limited zoom range, which is why I'm really excited for the upcoming 28-105 T2 Cine AF version. The overall mechanics, design and performance of this lens is excellent. It blends lovely smooth mechanics for more cinema-style workflows, and then with the flick of a switch, you can take advantage of the excellent autofocus systems in a range of modern cameras when you need to. I really think this type of lens is the future for video acquisition, and Sigma have nailed what I would consider to be a true hybrid video and cinema lens. It's priced at £2,599 here in the UK, including VAT, and should be shipping very soon. Anyway, if you have any more questions or thoughts about this lens, let us know in the comments. And if you like the video, please give it a like and maybe consider subscribing so you don't miss out on our awesome upcoming content. And thank you so much for watching.